Welcome back, guys. In the last video, we talked about the essential conditions, the requirements that we need to have in order to solve a problem using the DP approach, right? And those conditions were basically overlapping subproblems and optimal substructure, right? So now let's move forward. Okay, it's clear to us that in DP we are supposed to store the value somewhere, so we can use them in future whenever we require, right? But now the question arises, how? Right? So we have two very popular methods for them, and one is tabulation, the other one is memoization. Some of you might be wondering that what difference does it make how you store the values, because at the end of the day you are just supposed to retrieve the values, right? But that is not exactly true. I'll tell you that just a little bit later. What difference do they make? Okay, so firstly let's try to understand what do we mean by tabulation and memoization. So tabulation says that you basically need to do this in order to get this. Okay, and memoization says that in order to get this, you need to do this. You might be getting confused, like what am I even trying to say? Because it sounds like active and passive voice, I know, but that is exactly tabulation and memoization. In one, you start from the zeroth value, and let's say that we have n, that is an arbitrary value for which you are trying to find the answer. Okay, in one, you try to start from zero and you fill up your table till the nth index, and in one you start from the nth index and you fill up your table to the zeroth value. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about them. So in tabulation, we first state the work, the conditions that we need to do in order to get the final results, right? These are like my base conditions. Like this is from where we'll start. This is the value for the zeroth for the first index maybe, and after that we just try to sequentially fill up till the final value. Okay, and that is why it is known as bottom up approach, because we are starting from the zeroth value. Okay, and in memoization we first tell what we want, like that is my final results, and then we tell what we need to do in order to get that. Like we start from the nth value and then we sequentially move down the ladder. Okay, and that's why it is known as a top down approach. Okay, uh, let's for an example say that suppose you want to get a job at a X company. Okay, if you say that I will practice coding, then I will prepare for my interviews, and finally I will get my job at the X company. Now that is tabulation. Okay, but if you say that in order to get a job in the X company, you'll work on your interviews and you'll prepare your coding skills, then that is memoization. Here you first stated your final goal, your what you want to do, and after that you stated your conditions. Okay, that is exactly memoization. Uh, so this I hope this example helps. Now you might be thinking that why am I putting so much of emphasis on this tabulation and memoization, because they are just a way of storing the values, but that will actually become your core concept for your DP. Okay, on the basis of one of these approaches, whichever one you prefer, you'll solve the hardest of questions. Okay, so now let's move on to a little bit of coding examples so we get a better hang of it, right? So let's start from tabulation, and let's take an example of Fibonacci numbers again. Okay, Fibonacci's numbers are very simple, very easy, but at the same time they help you understand these concepts in very easily also, right? So let me first write a pseudocode for Fibonacci numbers, like what we do in Fibonacci numbers. Let's say I have a function fibn, and here you'll call your basically your code, and what will your conditions like. If the n is less than equal to 1, this is your base condition, right? Then you are supposed to return n. Otherwise you are supposed to return fib of n minus 1 plus fib of n minus 2. This is like the formula for Fibonacci numbers, right? So sorry, this is basically the pseudocode, I guess, for Fibonacci numbers, right? And again I'll try to draw the image, the tree like structure that we'll get for uh this function when we call it for Fibonacci 5. Okay, so just give me a second. Yeah, so this is basically the tree like structure that we'll get after we call for fib of 5. Okay, and we have discussed again last time that we are just solve fib of 3 2 times, fib of 2 3 times, and fib of 1 4 times. So in order to avoid that we have DP, right? So now let's try the actual implementation of DP and see how it helps us. Okay, so let's first start with the tabulation part. Let's let's create a function. I'll call it like t of fib. By the way, tabulation is known as bottom up approach because you start from the zeroth value and then you move till the nth value. So I'll get an arbitrary value n, and let's try to code up for that. So uh, we are supposed to store the value somewhere. So let's say that I am storing the value in a table. Rather, let's say that I'm trying to store the value in a table named as fib. Okay. Uh, I'll try to initialize its value with 0, and it will have n plus 1 elements, right? I've just created a array of n plus 1 size with 0 values because the last index will store my answers. Here fib 0 means like if I say fib 0, it means that the Fibonacci value for the for 0. Fib 1 means Fibonacci value of 1. Fib n means Fibonacci value of n, right? So let's now try to set up a base conditions, because in tabulation what we do, we first set up a base conditions. By base condition I mean, since we are starting from the zeroth, we need to have some solved answers on the basis of which we can move up till n. Okay, so we know that we know that fib of 0 is basically 0, and fib of 1 is basically 1, right? Now that is more than enough for us to start. So now let's start uh, with the tabulation coding part. So sorry, for I in range of 2 till n plus 1. Now we are just supposed to write your formula. That was fib of I will be equal to fib of I minus 1 plus fib of I minus 2. Sorry, right? Now this is let's take a look at the recursive code. These are the same lines, right? If you take a look, then these are the same lines. However, the difference is we are not recalculating the part again and again. Here we already have that path stored somewhere, right? So we are taking the advantage of that, and at the end of this function I'll just return fib of n, which is supposedly my answer. Okay, so now let's try to see that does this function even works correctly. So tfib, and let's try to solve it for 5. Okay, let's see if it gives us the correct answer or not. So the value that I get is 5, and I think that is correct. 0 1 and then 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 5. Okay, so I think we are starting from this part. Yeah, 0th, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Yeah, so that is exactly correct. Okay. If you want, you can just try this code for anywhere, like in maybe in anywhere. If recursive functions give you TLA, then I can assure you that this won't. So this is basically like the tabulation part. So now let's comment it up, because I hope we are a little bit clear about tabulation of what we are trying to do. We started from the 0th index. We set up a few solved examples, and on the basis of that, we try to solve the final problem, right? So now let's try to talk about memorization. Let's try to understand what memorization is. And honestly, if you know recursion, you know memorization some way, because memorization is very closely associated to recursion. Okay. Um, I think I can just write the code for recursion and I can just manipulate that also. Okay, so let's try to write the code for memorization of Fibonacci numbers. So for memorization of Fibonacci numbers, again, this is basically your top to down approach. Okay, you start from the nth value and you come down till the 0th value. Okay, so here I need two parameters. Firstly, the n, and then basically a table in which I'm storing the value. I'll just pass that as a parameter. Okay, so n and fib. Okay, now just try to remember what do you use to write for your Fibonacci numbers. The code was like this: if n is less than or equal to 1, you return basically what do you return? You usually you used to return n, right? Otherwise, you used to return mm, m fib n minus 1 plus m fib n minus 2. Sorry, I think this was the exact code for Fibonacci for recursive, right? Now let's just try to make a little bit changes, so we see how we can further optimize this. So for that, let's just go back to this particular image, this tree-like structure. So here, what was the real issue that we faced? We have already solved fib 3 once, but when we encounter fib 3 here again, then we were trying to solve that part again, right? So we were solving fib 3 more than once, and fib 2 we were solving it like 3 times. So what memorization says that if that particular value is in the table, use it. If it is not, you make a recursive call. Okay, so what how it happens is like this: if n is less than equal to 1, you used to return n, right? But now it becomes like this: fib of n will become n. This is basically your this is what basically your return n becomes. And memorization says that if that value is present in the table, so if let fib of n is none, I'll just try to, I'll initialize my fib table with none values. Okay, this basically denotes that the values are empty, it has a null value, right? You can, it's your it's up to you, you want, you can even put the -1 values also. So if fib of n, right, if fib of, let's say, 5, maybe if let's say fib of 3, so if fib of 3 is none, which means that we are encountering fib of 3 first time, and if we encounter fib of 3 first time, yes, we are supposed to solve it. It's no, there's no issue, right? So if fib of 3 is none, then what do? We will solve it. Okay, so how will we solve it? Very simple. uh, Fib of 3 will now become equal to what? It will become it's basically the same calls, same recursive calls: m fib n minus 1, right, pass fib again, plus m fib n minus 2 and pass fib again. This was the condition, right? So here I have just tested that if that particular element has not been accessed, if that particular value has not been solved till now, solve it. And I don't think that will do me any harm. If f3 is the first time I encountered f3 first time, yes, I am supposed to solve it, right? But if it is if it is already solved, then what do? You simply return fib of n. This is your memorization. Now let me just make the call. So tfib will become mfib, which means memorization of fib. And I need to have a fib type table. So I'll just try to initialize it with none because I'm checking for none. It's up to you, you want -1 is also fine, into n plus 1. This is like the same condition, m fib, and here I need to pass fib, right? And let's see, the answer that I'm supposed to get for this is uh, by the way, n is 9. Okay, so I think I should get like 33 maybe. Let's try to run the code. I'm getting -1. Maybe I've made some mistake. Okay, yeah, so this is a mistake. If fib of n is none and fib of n is none, yeah. Uh, yeah, I think that's where we made the mistake. Now let's try to call this function again. Yeah, 34, that is the correct answer. So this is basically memorization. It's almost similar to recursion. The only difference is we just try to store the values once we have solved them, right? So I hope we are clear with what tabulation is, how is it implemented, what memorization is. If you take a closer look, then for tabulation, we started from like the 0th index, like from 0, then 1, and then we move up till n plus 1. But for memorization, we started from n, and then we slowly went down, like n minus 1, n minus 2. So yeah. So basically, these were like the two codes for tabulation and memorization. I hope it's clear.